All right, welcome back, everybody. One more segment to go. All right, we talked about what's at stake in the election. Now we're going to learn how conservatives can win the election. We've got two great guests, but first off, who wants to get a bumper sticker that says if you're not at the table, you're on the menu? I'm getting that on my pickup truck today. That was great. Way to go, Hogan. That was fun. All right, this is called Mobilizing for November. This is the strategy session where you're going to learn just how easy it is to tip the voting in your favor using the tactics we've been talking about all day. Our two guests were part of an event in April 3rd. I went to one of the most amazing things I experienced as a political reporter. They have the secret sauce. They've done the data. They know where the voters are that we can go out and get to win the election, and they're going to teach you how to do that in the next 15 minutes. So first off, Samantha Mims. Sam, you've done some great work. She serves as the Director of Data Operations and Strategic Partnerships at America First Works, the group that's running that Get Out the Vote operation. Sam previously served as the Data Director for President Donald Trump's re-election campaign and Governor Ron DeSantis' gubernatorial campaign. Won a couple of races there, didn't you? Sam also ran operations for Governor DeSantis' inauguration before serving as a policy chief in his administration. Prior to her foray into politics, Sam played on the U.S. volleyball team, right? Yeah, good. That's pretty cool. All right, and Ryan Caudill serves as Director of Strategic Initiatives at AFPI, America First Policy Institute. Most recently, Caudill served as the Executive Director for the Georgia Republican Party, where he helped oversee efforts to improve a conservative majority with record non-presidential year fundraising. Remember when they said the Georgia voter law would be disenfranchised people? Record turnout in 2022. If you make it simple and safe, people will vote. Guys, you take it over. I can't wait to learn myself. All right. Oh, I got to give you that, right? You need that.
So first of all, I want to shout out Heather for making the plug for data. We don't pay her to say that, but thank you for making the plug for good political data. As you all read in the bio, I am an athlete. If you guys can't see, I am 6'1", very tall. But elections are just like sports. I like to compare elections to football. They're both games of inches. Every inch matters. And while football players might not like the new targeting rule, we may not like, voting by mail, but those are the rules we have to play by. And if we don't like them, we change them. And so one of the things that we're going to go over today is we're going to deep dive into Pennsylvania data, and then we're going to go into, okay, what does that mean for you all? How can you use that to turn out the vote this November? So one of the things that we found when we dove into the data was what populations are the most significant? Where can we find those inches? And one of the things that we found in the special election just a few months ago in November to make the plug for early voting and mail voting is if the Democrat candidate in that special election had gotten 0 votes on election day, he still would have won. That is incredible. Absolutely incredible. We saw that in 2022 in Pennsylvania. We saw that in 2020. If we do not embrace it, we will continue to lose. That being said, sorry, it's a little hard to see, so I'm going to get up. So we have these numbers. And so what these numbers means are we've done the math. If we reach that firewall number, what we call those numbers are too big to rig. That means that no matter any malfeasance that may happen in the elections, if we reach that number, an America First candidate will win come election night. So how do we get there? So at AFW, we have something called Project 19. And what Project 19 is, out of the 3,100 counties across the United States, 19 of them will decide the outcome of this next election. Pennsylvania happens to be home to 4 of the 19. It's actually most of any state we have. And those are the firewall numbers for each of those counties. And that's not to say that we will win Montgomery County, or we will win Chester County, or we will win Bucks County. I hope we do. But if we reach those numbers within those counties and the rest of the counties in Pennsylvania perform like we think they should, then we can expect an overall win in Pennsylvania on election night. It's very feasible. So those numbers look very large. However, when you realize there are not that many more votes than in 2020, we all of a sudden see a path for Pennsylvania. So what does Pennsylvania look like right now? It's almost even between Democrats and Republicans. However, that Democrat number looks high. A lot of them don't vote in Democrat primaries. So a lot of them aren't married to the values of the Democrat Party, and a lot of them are starting to wake up to the fact that the Democrat Party and the values that they hold do not match their own. So what we did is we looked at key specific populations, and we said, okay, if you're targeting Hispanic voters, what states are most important for you? So if you're targeting Hispanics, Pennsylvania is actually probably in the middle out of 10. It's right at number 6. Look at the Catholic voters. Look at the Jewish voters. I want to highlight that. What's going on right now? What the Biden administration is allowing to happen in New York is despicable. You know, Jewish students are being kept from class. I remember when the National Guard was sent in, when other students were kept from class. Where is that Democrat leadership now? And talking about the senior vote, and it is number 8th on the list for Pennsylvania, or for the seniors, but it's going to have a huge impact on the election. Most of Pennsylvania's voters are over the age of 55. That is a huge margin. And so how these states get the ranking, just to kind of explain it a little bit, is it's by share percentage of vote. Pennsylvania is both very young and has a very older population of voting. There's not a lot of middle ground like in states in Georgia. So one of the other things I want to point out is gun owners. So gun owners, the 3 is a little off, but what that means is gun owners who stayed home. How many gun owners, and you don't have to raise your hand because we don't want to make you targets of the government, how many gun owners do we have in here? Over 67,000 registered to vote gun owners in the state of Pennsylvania stayed home in 2020. Over 67,000 that were registered. That's not even counting the ones that are unregistered. They stayed home. I don't know if it was hunting season. I don't know. You know, it could have been. But there's key populations, like in states like Wisconsin. 33,000, it's 3 times as many, the margin of 2020, where how many gun owners did not vote? 3 times as many. So Pennsylvania, very high up on the list. So if you know people who are gun owners, your Second Amendment is on the ballot. It is very important. Make sure, and we're working with gun owner groups to say, hey, we know you're typically conservative, and we know, you need to vote. You may not feel like your vote counts. It does. Inches matter, and we need to get every inch that we have. So I'll hand it over to Ryan to talk about getting out the vote. But where's our AMAC staff at? I want to give them a quick shout out real quick. So thank you, AMAC, a lot of AMAC staff. So one of the things that we did at America First Works is we brought together coalition partnerships, because one of the things that the left has done so well is they've really ceded the authority on data and technology when it comes to elections. They've really been the only authority, and we've really never sung from the same song sheet. We've never shared data as conservatives. We've never talked to each other. And John mentioned it, on April 3rd, we brought together 52 conservative organizations. AMAC was one of the original founding members, and so we're working together, we're sharing data, we're empowering people. So the things that AMAC finds out, they share with us. The things that we find out, we share with them. And I want to thank AMAC and all of you for being AMAC members, for being a part of that agreement, because it's truly fundamental. For the first time, the conservative movement is singing from the same song sheet. And with all of that empowered, I think we're going to have a really exciting time come November.
Thanks, everyone. My name is Ryan Caudill. Like I said again, you already clicked back for me. So like I said, we wanted to kind of give you guys a little bit of an idea of, sorry, I'm used to being out in the crowd more often than not, or in the field, and that's what I wanted to talk about today, is this is what we want to do when we go out to actually get more voters, to spread our message to some of those gun owners who have not either registered to vote. I think in some states it's up to 30% of gun owners that are not registered to vote, which is still shocking to me. The first step here, I've got kind of an overview of what I want to talk about real quickly. One is identification of who we need to talk to. Sam has done a very great job of figuring out stats like that gun owner stat that we just talked about. And then we go into voter registration to get some of those folks to actually register to vote. A lot of folks that we talk to along the 9 different battleground states, they do have issues with mail-in voting, but they also have a question of, well, I don't know if my vote actually counts. Well, I can tell you one thing for sure, as we're doing a lot of good work with Heather Honey, with Hogan Gidley on the CEI team, with AMAC, we are making sure that is more secure. But one thing I can tell you for sure is that if you don't vote, your vote definitely doesn't count. unless you're a Democrat and you're dead. Sorry. The next one is persuasion. That's what we want to go into that. We want to target the folks that we need to talk to, whether it is the gun owners, we want to give them gun owner specific information. Hey, your Second Amendment rights are under attack. That's why you should vote. Then we go into early vote push. Again, we need to talk to folks to get them comfortable. Until we can fix everything in the election space, we need to get them to vote early. I was just talking to a gentleman in Arizona 2 weekends ago. He cast his ballot on election day. They had a problem with it. He didn't have enough time to cure his own ballot, and by that time, he found out after the election that his ballot was never counted. If we vote early, and if we get our stuff in early, we can actually check and we can track our ballots to make sure that we get our signature, our addresses correct, and that they actually do get counted. And then the last push is getting out the vote. We actually need to get folks to, unfortunately, take a day off from going out hunting. I know the fall is prime time for that. Unfortunately, last election cycles, that's been tough for myself. So I've gone over kind of more identification here. This is, again, what Sam has done. Who are the low propensity voters? Who are the high propensity voters? How do we need to talk to those folks? If they're going to go out and vote often, as in every single cycle, then we need to remind them, hey, this is the date. Make sure you go vote on this day. If they're low propensity, they haven't voted that often, maybe 1 or 2 out of the last 4 elections. We need to remind them, make sure the voter registration is up to date, make sure that they have a plan in place. How many times have there been bad weather on election day? Again, another argument for voting early. So communicating with these folks, again, voter registration, making sure that those folks are registered to vote, that it is up to date, that they have not lapsed, they've gone inactive. Some states that has a problem where if they haven't voted in 2 or 4 election cycles, they go inactive and they have to go through another process. The next one is, again, persuasion, talking and delivering the right message. Sam and I did a really good test run, an A/B test is what we call it, here in Bucks County, where we took the exact same universe, the exact same message, changed 1 of 2 words, protecting parents' rights versus protecting children's rights. One of those had a 2 times the rate of engagement. Can I get a quick show of hands on who thinks parents' rights won? Okay. How many people think that children's rights won? Okay, it's about 50-50-ish. I can't see too good with these lights in my eyes, but we found that protecting parents' rights actually had a 2 times the engagement. So testing our messaging, making sure that we are actually communicating the right message to our voters, to our people. The second to last is early voting, making sure people go out. We've talked about this today. And then getting out the vote, telling folks, reminding them. I can't tell you how often my own sister, who I love to death, doesn't remember what day it is to vote. Hey sis, it is this day. Go ahead and vote. And then this is a summary. And then very last, I want to talk about this. We've mentioned it very briefly earlier, but over 80% of Americans don't actually trust the legacy media. And that's why I'm really happy about guys like John Solomon who are going out there and fighting for the truth. I think you guys are truth fighters nowadays. And I think that that's very telling because up to 77% of Americans do believe news that comes from their friends and family. So we at AFW, we started a thing called the Neighborhood Activist Program. You can use this QR code, or there should be a flyer in your packets on your table, where we give a lot of news from Real America Voice. We give talking points, and like, this is what's really going on. You heard about the immigration numbers from Rob Law and Hogan Gidley this morning. We're giving information to Americans just like yourself, say, hey, this is what's really going on. A lot of times we don't hear the legacy media talking about the issues that are affecting our everyday lives. And if it's 77% of your friends and family trust you over the legacy media, then you're the best advocate for an America First policy agenda. So please sign up either on the QR code in your packets, talk to Heather Honey to sign up as a poll watcher, talk to the AMAC guys, get involved. Thank you guys so much.
Awesome. That should give you some hope, right? There's real numbers. Just think about the gun owners and the evangelicals that stayed home in 2020. If just half of them showed up, all those margins that Republicans lost in the state would have been erased immediately. Really amazing. All right, we've got one more little quick segment to go. We're going to wrap things up. We'll throw to a quick commercial break. We'll be right back after these messages.